Hey everyone, welcome back to Ragtag Stacking. In today's video I want to talk a little bit about some terms that you might not be familiar with, and this might be for some beginners just getting into it, but this could also be for some people that have been doing it for a while that just are not quite familiar with a certain term or just haven't gotten around to learning something or just this little thing. So there are quite a few of them. I'm going to try and get to as many as I can, but if I missed a certain one that you were looking for, just let me know in the comments because as I said, there's a lot. So yeah, I will try to get to as many as I can, but if there's enough to make a second video of, then I'll make a second one as well. Jumping right into it, you have to start kind of at the basics here. So it might be some people that have been doing it for a while might be rolling their eyes, but I'm going to start with spot price. So when you hear spot price, that's what the price of the gold and silver are going for at that current time. It fluctuates throughout the day, it goes up, it goes down, but the spot price is the price of silver and gold. Now the second term I want to talk about is something that stackers are going to be hit with right away, and that is premiums. So you got to think of spot price is what the price of silver and gold is. Premiums are the actual cost of what you're going to be paying to buy the stuff. Just like in retail stores, you got the cost, that's what the business pays to get the items, and then you have retail, which is the markup that they make their profit on to sell it to the people. So in stacking terms, spot price is basically cost and premiums are retail. So you're going to be paying more than spot price, obviously, and in today's day and age the premiums are quite a bit on top. We do have quite high premiums right now, so that's basically what it is. It's the additional money on top of the spot price is the premium, and that's what you're going to be paying to get your silver and gold. And dollar cost averaging is something that you're going to hear as well. So people that are dollar cost averaging are buying no matter what the price is. Basically, it does make sense to try and buy when there's a dip and try to avoid buying when there's a spike, but people that are looking to dollar cost average have a certain budget that they have set in their head, and they have a time that they're going to buy, whether it's every 2 weeks or every month. No matter what the price is, they're going to be picking up a certain amount each time. And the hope is obviously that over time, averaging it out, that you're going to be taking advantages of some dips, and unfortunately you're going to have to weather some spikes, but over the long term it's all basically going to average out nicely. And for those that have been doing it for decades and started in the 90s, they're going to have a very low dollar cost average compared to someone who's just starting now. So if they stacked like 3,000 ounces in the 90s, they're not really batting too much of an eye having to pay some of these higher premiums, because the the effect on their dollar cost average of their entire stack isn't being affected as much as someone that's just starting now. And with spot price moving up and premiums going with them, the later you get into stacking, the better the chances that your dollar cost average is going to be just increasing. There's not much that you can do about it. You know what I mean? For me, I'm kind of kicking myself. I didn't get started a little bit earlier, so my dollar cost average would be a bit better because I started stacking in the high premium era. So my dollar cost average is quite high. And LCS is the next term that you're going to hear. It's very self-explanatory once you actually understand what the acronym is, but that's local coin shop. So you'll see a bunch of videos talking about going to my LCS or talking with my LCS owner. That's local coin shop. And one that I wasn't quite familiar with until I started getting into stacking was troy ounces. I didn't know there was a difference between a troy ounce and a regular ounce. I actually learned that a regular ounce is called Arvois de Poix, I think it's called. I'm obviously not pronouncing that properly, but that's not the unit of measure that they use for gold and silver. It is for copper for some reason. Not exactly sure why precious metals like silver and gold use troy ounces. I just know that they do. So that's what it is. And the troy ounce is 31.1 grams, which is about 10% heavier than the traditional Arvois de Poix, however you say it, ounce. So that is definitely something that you will come across when you just get into stacking, is that you'll see it designated as troy ounce. There is a difference, and it is heavier than a regular ounce. And another thing that you'll hear is round. Round is something that you'll hear because whenever I would see this, or before stacking, if I saw this, I would just say, oh, that's a really nice coin. That's a nice buffalo on this coin. But this is in fact a round because it is made by a private mint. It's not made by a sovereign country, and it doesn't have a dollar amount on it. So, it's not legal tender as opposed to something like a maple leaf. A maple leaf is made, by the Royal Canadian Mint. It's backed by a sovereign nation, and it actually has a dollar amount on there, the $5. So, this is a coin, and that is a round. So if you're just getting started and you hear the term round, it basically just means that it's a piece of silver that doesn't have a dollar denomination on it and is not made by a country, it's made by a private mint. They look the same. Many of them are struck on the same planchets. It's just a different name associated with it. Coin has the dollar amount on it. The round is just a generic piece of silver that doesn't have any monetary value or, associated with a country. So I'm going to come up with two terms here because you might think that they are different things like I did at the beginning, but they are in fact the same thing, and that is junk silver and constitutional silver. It is the same thing. It's basically circulated silver coinage. In the States it's 90% primarily. Up in Canada we got some of these geese here, I guess these Canadian silver dollars. This is the Canadian junk silver. The majority of the stuff that you see up there is 80%. And there are plenty of other countries that have circulated coinage that have some silver content in it. But that's what junk silver and constitutional silver is the old circulated coins that still have silver in it. In the US, it's circulated coins from 1964 and lower or earlier. Up in Canada, they stopped doing it in 1967 was the last year that they had the silver in the coinage. So anything from 67 and lower, then that has the silver in it. And like I said, plenty of other countries have it as well, where they have circulated coinage with silver in it. And I'm not quite sure of all of their years of when they stopped doing it. Numismatic, that's a term that you'll come across every now and then. And numismatic coins they're basically like collector coins. Not a lot of, I don't collect them. I don't have a lot of numismatic stuff. But when you hear the term numismatic, that's basically the value associated with the coin above the silver content. So if you look at a maple leaf, obviously if you're trying to sell a maple leaf, the base is you're going to have to look at what spot price is. You're not going to want to sell for anything less than spot price. And some of these coins, American Silver Eagle, Britannia, maple leaf, they do have a premium associated with it. So say when you're selling a maple leaf, you're going to start at spot price. You're not going to want anything less than spot price. And you're not going to be getting as much back in premiums that you paid in premiums. You might get a little back on the maple leafs and the ASEs. But like I said, it's not going to be as much premium that you paid. So you can have investment grade coins like this that do have some numismatic value. And that will come from like a year that's a very, very low mintage. If it's a low mintage and it's rarer, then it does increase the value of the coin above what the silver content is. Another term you hear will be like 3 nines or 4 nines. You'll hear something like that. You'll hear 4 nines pure silver, 3 nines pure silver. So you can tell by context that it is talking about the purity of the coin, but it doesn't really make too much of a difference in value. So yes, it is that slightly little bit purer. They've added the 4th 9 of purity there, whereas it only got to 3 nines with the American Eagle. It doesn't really affect the price. And this is an exaggeration, a hypothetical. But if someone says, I'm charging $10 more on my maples than my Britannias because this is 4 nines and that's 3 nines, that's absolutely ridiculous. The maple leafs are a little bit more expensive than say a Britannia or a generic round, but they're still in the same ballpark. If they're charging it where they're not even playing the same sport, let alone being in the same ballpark, then just, avoid them. There shouldn't be an astronomical increase because it's 4 nines. Funny one is Monster Box. I'll say Monster Box, I'll just throw that into a video and not think about it, and then I'll have people in the comments saying, what the hell is a Monster Box? And to put it very, very simply, it is just basically a plastic box. It's very durable, and it's, a lot of them, I have 2. I have one from the Royal Canadian Mint, and I have one from the Royal Mint. One is supposed to be for Britannias, and one is supposed to be for maple leafs. I can have it mixed tubes. But basically, a Monster Box is something that you could fit, a lot of the times it's 500 ounces. So for the Canadian Mint, they have tubes that fit in there. They have 20 tubes that fit 25. So, that monster box will be a different size than my Britannia one, because that one has 25 tubes with 20 coins in them. So it still gets to 500 ounces, but it's a different size. The box is slightly longer and not as deep, and the Maple Leaf one looks a little bit more compact. But that's what a monster box is. It's something that stores 500 ounces of coins, and they do have different size ones. They have like mini ones that will hold like 100 ounces. They have ones that are specifically for bars. A lot of those are to the 500, but I have seen ones where it's 400. So yeah, a monster box is something that you can buy that will help to actually store some of your stuff. Primarily with tubes. It's made for the tubes, but I do have some just stuff lying around the monster box too. It's a good way to store your silver. And one thing that I absolutely hate, and you will hear a lot of on silver stacking channels, is milk spotting. And here's an example of what milk spotting is. It's basically this kind of white milky residue that is on coins, and it comes out of nowhere. You'll get a coin, you'll have it in your hands, and it'll be nice and blemish free, and then all of a sudden a month later when you look at it, it'll have this white residue on it. So basically, milk spotting happens because of something in the minting process, where they have a cleaning detergent on there. They have a detergent on these coins, and all of the detergent is supposed to be wiped free before it goes on to the next process, where it goes back into an annealing furnace is what it's called, and it gets heated up again and all that. So if the detergent isn't clean off of the coin, it could go back into the furnace and essentially basically be baked into the coin, and then the coin will come out, finish the minting process, and unfortunately it's kind of like a ticking time bomb. There have been some people that have sent a coin away to be graded, gets a perfect 70 grading, and then a couple months later has milk spotting on it, because it could show up in a day, could show up in a month, could show up in a year. But milk spotting is an issue that the Royal Canadian Mint has come up with something called Mint Shield. So anything that the Royal Canadian Mint has made from 2018 and above has Mint Shield on it, and it really has helped to, with the quality control of the Maple Leafs, because that was a big sticking point for a lot of people, was that the Maple Leafs, they just, you'd have them for a week and then they'd be milk spotted up. But the Mint Shield has helped with that. Another term that you'll hear is GSR. That is the gold-silver ratio, and that's basically, how many ounces of silver does it take to equal 1 ounce of gold. So a lot of people will look at it and say, if it's 60 to 1 and below, they're just going to be picking up gold. And if it's between 60 and 80, that they'll be picking up both silver and gold. And then when it goes up to 80, they're going to be primarily focusing on picking up silver. So some people use it as a barometer. Some people use it to actually judge on whether they're going to trade in some silver for gold. Primarily, there have been some people that have traded gold for silver, but that's what the GSR is. It is just the ratio of how much silver you need to get 1 ounce of gold, and there are many ways that people implement it and use the GSR. Another term that I knew of before stacking, but wasn't quite sure exactly what it was sterling silver. And sterling silver is basically just a type of silver, and the percentage of silver in sterling silver is 92.5%. So you do see a lot of sterling silver, say in some silverware. A lot of it is sterling silver, where you get some of the plates and the spoons. But there are some coins that are 92.5% sterling silver. I only have a couple, but they have the 1976 Canadian Olympics in Montreal. They had this 28 set coin. They had 2 different sizes, but the composition of the coin was made up of sterling silver. So these were 92.5% coins. So when you hear sterling silver, you just have to remember that is a 92.5% silver. So yeah, those are just a few things that you're going to be hearing a lot of if you're just getting into stacking. And for some people, they might hear it in a video, and it's impossible for in videos for every creator to stop and make sure that everyone that's watching the video understands the term that they just made. So it could just be something that has slipped through the cracks, and you haven't got a full grasp or definition of what the word was. So that's why I kind of wanted to throw it up here for people that have been doing it for a long time, there might have been something there that you had missed. But yeah, I do understand this is a lot for people that are just getting in and just beginning their stacking journey. So yeah, like I said at the beginning, let me know down in the comments if there's any pressing, term, definition, abbreviation that you're not quite sure of. Let me know in the comments, because I will do a follow-up video. Like I said, if there's enough definitions that I didn't touch on here to constitute or warrant another video. But anyways, that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you come back for the next one. Thank you.